I'm a Cyprus Non Dom individual, which means that I pay 0% taxes on my worldwide dividend income for 17 years. And not only that, over the past 5 years we helped hundreds of individuals become non-domiciled in Cyprus as well, enjoy the tax benefits, and there are a lot of misunderstandings that a lot of people have. So definitely make sure to watch this video until the very end so that you can save time and money. Hey everybody, it's Ricardo Gorski, the founder of Tax.One, where we help individuals and businesses relocate to low-tax jurisdictions, and in this video I'm going to talk about the Cyprus Non Dom Status, so definitely make sure to stick around. So, the Cyprus Non Dom Status is actually not a tax residency per se, which a lot of people think, and it is actually also not tied to the 60 days rule, which I will explain in a minute. You can be a tax resident in Cyprus without the Non Dom Status, and you can also be a non-domiciled individual in Cyprus when you spend more than 183 days in the country. The Non Dom Status is actually just a tax exemption. In Cyprus, dividend tax actually exists, and it's called Special Defense Contribution, which sits at around 17%. But the Special Defense Contribution, or the SDC, is only for domiciled individuals that live in Cyprus, for example the locals, or for individuals that spent a substantial amount of time in Cyprus for the past 20 years. But in order to attract wealthy individuals and businesses and improve the country's economy, the government actually decided to create the Non Dom program, which means that people that didn't make Cyprus their home in the past 20 years can come to the island and they are not subject to the 17% SDC. You will receive a stamped document from the tax authorities here in Cyprus that will actually confirm this benefit, which will last for 17 years, because if you spend more than 17 years in Cyprus and you make it your new home, then you will actually be domiciled and it's your new life center, and you will then be subject to the 17% SDC. So actually you see, the domiciled or non-domiciled status actually has nothing to do with your passport, citizenship, or your family tree. It's more like, where are you physically located most of the time and where is your life center. And very few countries have a non-dom program. Actually Germany, for example, everyone that resides in Germany is subject to a flat 25% tax on all dividends and all capital gains. The UK used to have an interesting non-dom program as well, but they are changing it right now from a domicile-based system to a residence-based system, which makes it unattractive for most people. And the same applies to Portugal, because they also changed their non-dom or NHR program, which used to be the non-habitual residency. So with all that in mind, I would argue that most likely, and I would say definitely, Cyprus has the best non-dom program in the whole EU right now, and probably even in the whole world. And if you're interested in anything regarding Cyprus matters, you should definitely reach out to us on Tax.One sooner than later, before the country also changes certain rules or laws. I do not have official confirmation about that, but I know how many people are taking advantage of Cyprus at the moment because it is so simple. And this is how it works exactly. In the Cyprus tax calendar year, which is January 1st until December 31st, you can receive as many dividends, as much dividend income as you want. And then the only fee you're actually paying is the 2.65% healthcare contribution to the national health system, the NHS. But the 2.65% healthcare contribution is actually kept at 4,700 euros, which is the equivalent of dividend income of 180,000 euros. That means if you receive more than 180k in dividend income per tax calendar year, the Cyprus government, the tax authorities don't care. They only see the dividend income up to 180k, and everything above that, they don't tax it. And there is no fee on that. So no matter how high your total dividend income is, the maximum you will pay is less than 5,000 euros in the healthcare contribution, which makes it very interesting for high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals. But even for small and medium-sized business owners, this is definitely a fair share of tax. But obviously, if you receive 10 million in dividends, the 5,000 euros is like a little tip to the Cyprus government for you. And as I said, the non-dom tax benefits apply to your worldwide dividend income. So also public listed stocks or ETFs that you own, but also to offshore companies that you own in tax havens, for example, if this is the case for you. And this can enable amazing tax structures. And there are two ways to become a Cyprus tax resident and then a non-dom later on. One by staying in the country for more than 183 days, more than 6 months, which actually makes you a tax resident in almost all countries in the world by international tax law. But very very interestingly, number 2, by staying in Cyprus for just 60 days per year. And exactly that is another huge benefit of Cyprus, because you can become a Cyprus tax resident and a non-dom with staying just 2 months in the country per year. But there are exactly 4 very important requirements that you also need to fulfill. In order to qualify for the 60-day tax residency, you need to be a permanent resident of Cyprus. No, not a tax resident, a permanent resident. So you actually need to be more than just a visitor and stay here for 90 days, but you need to have a residency permit, which is the yellow slip for Europeans and the pink slip for non-Europeans. Number 2, alongside with that comes the necessity of having a permanent address in Cyprus for at least 6 months per year. You can either rent a property with a rental contract of more than 183 days, or you just simply buy a property here. Number 3, very important, is that you need to be either a director in a Cyprus company, or you need to be employed in a Cyprus company, or you need to conduct any other kind of business activity in Cyprus, such as being an investor, for example. But this can be quite individual, so definitely reach out on Tax.One and we will help you individually in a consultation call. And now, number 4, you shall not spend more than 183 days in any other jurisdiction in any other country in the same year, because then, logically, again by international tax law, you become a tax resident of the other jurisdiction, and then you may run into double tax issues and 2 countries want money from you, and believe me, you don't want that. So with that in mind, you cannot spend 60 days in Cyprus and 300 days in Germany or Austria or Italy, for example, because then you're a tax resident of Germany, Austria, Italy, and there is certainly not 0% dividend tax. If you fulfill those 4 requirements and you spend a certain amount of time here in Cyprus, then you are a Cyprus tax resident, and then we can apply for your non-dom status in just a matter of a few days. But if you now want to move as fast as possible and you're about to book the flights to Cyprus, wait a minute, because exactly this is the point where a lot of people run into problems. If you want to leave your country now and relocate to Cyprus, let's say this year, we first have to check if you maybe already triggered the tax residency of your home country. And in many cases, this is not as simple as spending 183 days in the country. The UK, for example, is very strict on that, and they already see you as a tax resident if you spend only 4 months in the country. There is actually no exact definition of what makes you a tax resident in X country. But certainly if you spend more than 183 days in your home country, you're a tax resident of that country, and it will be hard to justify why you wouldn't need to pay taxes in your home country for that tax calendar year. But if the year just started, we have enough time to create a proper exit strategy for you to leave your country and come to Cyprus or any other low tax jurisdiction. But if we are close to 183 days and it's, let's say, the end of May and you spend most of the time in your home country, better book a consultation call as fast as possible. We will take a very deep look at your individual consultation and start with the application processes as fast as possible. And by the way, all of this has nothing to do with your income tax, because the income tax in Cyprus is actually quite high. It can go up to 35% if you earn more than 60,000 euros per annum. And this is why we recommend to our clients to pay the minimum wage in Cyprus, which is currently 1,000 euros per month. With that, you will not trigger income tax in Cyprus because it starts at 19,500 euros per year. And then you can pay yourself up to 4 interim dividends per year to your private bank account. It's as simple as creating your own bank transfer from your company entity to yourself as a natural person, and even we can create the dividend certificates for you. And this way you can receive your money in the most tax efficient way possible. Yes, there's also 0% capital gains tax in Cyprus, 0% tax on international rental income, a very low corporate tax, and many other tax benefits. But as taxes is a very complex topic, we actually created a quick questionnaire on Tax.One, and if you fill that out, we will get back to you with a consultation call as soon as possible, and I will see you in the next video.